Welcome back, and we are moving into our first conversation for this morning, a very important one. We're joined by Yorshabell, Cattouse, who is the Manager of Member Relations for the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and she has joining her a visiting consultant. He's a crime consultant and trainer for business crisis consultants from Trinidad, and he is Oluyemi Mashama. Good morning, and welcome.
And thank you for having us.
So, given the context of what is happening in the country, this is a very relevant and important conversation, I'd imagine not just for businesses, but for the general public. And so we're grateful that you came in to share some of the information that will be a part of the session. But Yorshabell, I'm really interested in finding out what the Chamber's role was in finding this particular consultant and putting this training together. You had members knocking on your door saying, help us?
Yes, definitely. Well, we have the company Business Crisis Consultants from Trinidad, and they had approached us with a package of different trainings that they do. They are a company that deals with solutions, helping businesses that have several crises that sometimes take them out of business and can cost them a lot. And there were several trainings like safety and health, disaster, emergency, what plans you put in place. But the one that caught our attention was the crime, armed intruder and robbery prevention. That one caught our attention, and we said, let's put it out to our members, because we know, considering what we're watching on the news, it's not the street crimes that are happening, it's a lot of the businesses. And they are concerned because businesses do help our economy. They help everyone, and so when they get attacked, it's bad. So we've been working with Mr. Garth Vincent. He leads the Business Crisis Consultants company, and so, well, he's the crime specialist in that area. And so we put it out to our members. The capacity was 30 persons, because it's not theoretical training, as the facilitator will share later. It's more than that. So it has to have enough space and everything. And we had to call back, twice to say, please allow us more. And today we're up to 45 persons. But sadly,
so you're at capacity.
Yeah, we can't go anymore. But I think looking at the content, and as the facilitator will share, it's something very timely. And not because we're all booked out doesn't mean that we can do a second one. So far we have 2 other companies that they wanted it for their own, because they have branches across the country. So it's not only the training that we're having this Thursday, August 2nd, at the Chamber's office, but he'll also be visiting 2 companies and helping them with their staff. So if you're interested, we could always do a company-specific training.
So, Oluyemi, my first question is, how does one become a crime specialist?
I mean, when we hear the term crime specialist, in my mind, sometimes it makes me feel like, well, I'm the one doing the crime.
You're an expert criminal.
It's not that. Back home, I'm into law enforcement. I'm a law enforcement professional.
Okay.
And over the years, I started in martial arts. That's where I started off. And, going through life, you start to look at the factors of, how can I help in the bigger or the wider scope of things as it relates to what is happening? I mean, I'm from Trinidad. If you all check, that's a lot of crime is happening in Trinidad also. So over the years, I joined the police service. I became a trainer. And in doing that, I started going abroad. I started doing a lot of work abroad, doing training programs abroad. And then I started being called to start to assist in the training. And from there, this course in particular started, I would say, as an experiment. A company called me and asked me, can you do a course in robbery prevention? And I was like, let me think about it. And I started to pull together what I had and my information, and I said, yes, we'll do it. And the armed intruder, I went away, did the training in armed intruder, and we put it together, and from there it kicked off in Trinidad. I have done a lot of the big companies in Trinidad have gone through this training, and now it's spreading outside. I've been in Wisconsin in October actually, doing the same program. So it's just kicking off. I just went from there.
How much of training someone to prevent or how to deal with an armed intruder means understanding the perpetrator, him or herself?
I think it has a lot to do with it, but it's more about understanding yourself and your organization. Because, you know, we always look outward.
Yeah.
But what about inward? So I always ask persons this question. We do, let's say in our homes, we have alarms. On our cars, we have cameras, we have burglar proofing back home. What do we have on ourselves? We are not always going to be in the car. We're not always going to be inside of our homes. At some point, we'll be outside. So what protection we have? Some persons say, I may use mace or whatever.
Or
those
have
things
a gun.
But again, those things may be illegal according to where, and there's a process to get at.
Yeah.
And then I always tell people, everything you want something back. So you have a gun, but then you brought a gun extra into the situation, especially if you're not trained properly to use the firearm.
Okay.
No, as I understand, a very close friend of mine was robbed yesterday at his gas station. And I watched the tape and I was angry. There are several businesses around. And, you know, he's an honest guy, working hard for his cash. And when I spoke to him yesterday, he was, you know, he was shaken but in good spirits. And he seemed to be accepting that, you know, I tried my best. He also was actually fighting them.
Okay, okay.
Is it a bit of a feel-good to say robbery prevention? Because as I understand robberies, they are crimes of opportunity.
Yes, they are.
And so you can't prevent a crime of opportunity. It's just when the opportunity comes up.
You can't remove the opportunity. There are things you can do to remove the opportunity, you know, and I think, and that's what I tell people. We get so comfortable with it, it becomes a norm. So the bad things has become such a norm that we accept it. Okay, we got robbed once this year, oh, it's a win. We don't work at, hey, let's not get robbed at all, or let's see how we can actually prevent this from happening. It can never be eliminated totally.
Yeah.
But there are things that we can do. I mean, I would love to see the video if I get the
Yes,
opportunity to see what happened. But there are things we can do. You know,
I wanted to go ahead and put it back into context as well, because, you know, we're accustomed to robberies taking place in a particular pattern. And I think what really scares people now is kind of the brazenness we see. There's a disregard for cameras. There's a disregard for police patrols. There's a disregard for time of day, for traffic, for how secluded an area is. So we'd always think, okay, if you're in a main thoroughfare, then you should be fine. There'll be so many people moving around. Or if I have cameras in place or a security guard, then I'm probably doing things to protect myself. What are people missing?
one of the biggest things I always tell people that they are missing is training. We don't take training as important.
Yeah.
We don't see it as something that is needed. And most times training expensive.
Yeah.
So we look at the cost of, here's what, I've been having this security guard here for the past 10 years. It has been all right. How trained is the security guard? What am I putting in place? Yes, we have a camera, but the camera does what? It captures what actually happened. It does not prevent it from happening to the extent. People, as you said, there's a total disregard now. People no longer look at having a camera as a big issue.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that we're going to touch on in this training, and I'll give this part of it out, there's something called color codes that is used in the military, and it was developed by a guy by the name of Jeff Copper years ago. He's dead now, of course. And it deals with our awareness, our situational awareness. The first color is white, and that's where most people are existing now. We just unaware. We just, every day, whatever happens, it didn't happen to me, it doesn't concern me. We're just moving with that flow. So it's okay, let's just leave it. If I don't see, or if I act like I don't see, I will be okay. We fail to realize that when you don't see, or when you act like you don't see, and the person goes out there and does it again, they will run out eventually of persons to rob. Who will they turn to next? It will reach to you eventually. So when we act like, you know, as we were saying earlier about you fear for your life, you should fear for your life, and I agree. But by not doing anything, you are making it a lot easier, or not saying anything, you are making it a lot easier for you to lose your life eventually. Because it will reach somehow or the other if nothing is being done. So the second color is yellow. Yellow speaks to the fact of being aware of your surroundings. You're aware. You're not paranoid, you know, as some people walk around and they're holding the, no. But you're aware of your environment. You see things. You identify possible threats and stuff like that. You see it happening. So you live in that zone where you are aware. There's never really, even in your rest period, you are aware of what is happening. Yeah. We go to orange. Orange deals with the fact that you were in your yellow zone, you're aware of what's going on, so now you identify a threat. Now I see it. So maybe in approaching my home, I see some strange guy by the road. Okay, I don't know that person. Maybe at the business. These guys don't just run into the business just like that. They will be casing out the business or looking at the business from time to time. So if I'm in my aware zone, maybe even reviewing my cameras, I am sure if he goes back at some point, he might be able to see these guys somewhere in the environment where they were observing it. Yeah. So I'm in yellow, I see the threat, what am I going to do? Am I going to face the threat? Am I going to call the police? Am I going to put things in place? Am I going to lock the door? Simple things like that. Then we have red. Red is where I saw the threat and I decided, here's what, I'm going to do something. I'm in it. It's happening. Yeah. What am I going to do? So you said he fought the guys.
Yes, he fought them.
So I mean, that was very brave of him that he survived that, but he fought the guys. And that was him being in that red zone. I'm going to do something. Maybe I'm just fed up, I'm frustrated, this is happening too much. No, I'm going to do something. Yeah. And unfortunately, the last color is black. Black refers to being in white and not having any type of training to prepare you for any of the other colors. And something happens. So you have no tools in your toolbox. You don't have anything at all. You just met totally by surprise, and there's nothing for you to pull on. Yeah. It is said in crisis or situations where when something happens that affects your life, you go back to your lowest level of training to respond. So if you don't have a low level or you don't have any level, what are you going to go back to respond to this training? Yeah. So that's just a bit about color codes and understanding situations.